Welcome to Key Tech. Please describe this channel if you are interested in today's video. TSMC has built a factory in the United States for a year or two, and it will be put into operation in 2024 at the earliest. Behind the seemingly smooth sailing, TSMC is actually facing various problems, such as inadequate subsidies, incomplete industrial chain, and various covetousness of the United States on TSMC. These problems can be solved step by step, but with regard to the problem of talent and labor, TSMC is in trouble. Judging from the feedback from TSMC's American employees, they are very uncomfortable with TSMC's work system and corporate culture. If TSMC does not handle it well, 600 American engineers may leave. TSMC is the world's largest chip foundry. As the United States has paid more attention to the chip manufacturing industry, the United States has increased its layout of chip localization. TSMC has become the target of the United States. At first, TSMC was not optimistic about building factories in the United States because the United States did not have an advantageous environment for building factories. The United States promised large subsidies, which finally made TSMC compromise. Announced a plan to build a factory in the United States, and invested a total of $40 billion to build 5 nanometers and 3 nanometers chip factories. The first 5 nanometers factory will be put into operation in 2024, and the second 3 nanometers factory will be put into operation in 2026. After the construction of the 2 factories is completed, it is expected to contribute $10 billion in revenue to TSMC every year. If all goes well, TSMC could reap a huge return on investment. But there is no free lunch in the world, and it is impossible for the United States to provide subsidies to TSMC unconditionally. According to the requirements of the United States, if TSMC wants to obtain subsidies, it must submit a series of commercial confidential information, such as chip yield rate, capacity utilization rate, etc. After making money in the future, they will also share 75% of the excess profits. Faced with these harsh conditions, TSMC did not compromise, but chose to be tough. Liu Deng, chairman of TSMC, said that he would not accept some of the conditions of the U.S. subsidy and would continue to communicate with the U.S. It's not just a matter of subsidies. TSMC's American employees will also be unable to retain them. On Glassdoor, a U.S. workplace community platform, many TSMC U.S. employees complained that they could not stand the working environment of TSMC U.S. factories. TSMC implemented a 12-hour work system here, causing it to live in the office for a month. And I have shifts on weekends, and I'm about to collapse. There are many similar complaints, and the core point of view all points to one point, that is, dissatisfaction with the working system of TSMC's U.S. factory, and the inability to adapt to TSMC's corporate culture. TSMC is an enterprise in Taiwan, and it pursues the spirit of hard work, obedience to orders, and industriousness. Almost all factories in TSMC's headquarters area implement a 12-hour shift work system. In order to ensure customers' chip production capacity, they produce 24 hours a day without interruption, which is why TSMC's production capacity is huge. The work system that many Taiwanese employees are accustomed to, will not work in the United States. Americans cannot accept high-intensity work arrangements and will reject work orders that they consider unreasonable. TSMC currently recruits about 600 employees in the United States. If TSMC does not handle it well, these 600 American employees may leave. Could this be TSMC's backlash against the United States? Because he could not accept the subsidy rules of the United States, he was confronted by American employees. I am afraid that TSMC Liu Deng did not expect that he would encounter so many problems when going to the United States to build a factory. However, it is too late for TSMC to regret it. Most of the US factories have been built and will be put into operation next year. At this time, the US will definitely not agree to regret it. After all, TSMC's going to the United States to build a factory is the hope for the United States to revive the localization of chips, and nothing will let TSMC leave. TSMC can only advance, not retreat, but the question is how can TSMC resolve the conflicts among American employees? Perhaps there are two solutions. One is to compromise, to comply with the requirements of American employees, to arrange a reasonable working system, and to take the needs of American employees as the main course of action. This will not only reconcile the corporate culture contradictions of American employees, but also attract more American engineers to join the company. The other is to send more engineers from the Taiwan provincial headquarters to the US factory and reduce the recruitment ratio of American employees. According to the rule that the minority obeys the majority, a small number of American employees will not cause any trouble. No matter which solution it is, it will cause certain losses to TSMC. If it complies with the requirements of American employees, it will inevitably affect chip production capacity and pay greater human resource costs. It is hard to say whether the US subsidy can be obtained. If TSMC is to bear greater costs, it may be difficult to accept. As for the dispatch of engineers from Taiwan province, it may cause a brain drain. The engineers will be poached by other companies after arriving in the United States, and the gains will outweigh the losses. Therefore, it was a wrong decision for TSMC to build a factory in the United States. This is only a problem of conflicts among employees. Other industrial chains are incomplete, and issues such as chip subsidy applications have not yet been resolved, which is enough for TSMC. If you agree with the point of view of this video, please like it. Welcome to Forward, leave a message and share.